Hello again, welcome back to my channel. In this video we will be making the cover base for the Time to Flourish album, and we are gonna need 3 sheets of the sand colored 12 by 12 cardstock. I forgot to record when I was cutting down my paper, but you will need 2 pieces that are 12 by 12 and 1 piece cut down to 3 inches by 12. So we are going to start with some square tape and placing it on the 3-inch strip from top to bottom, as close to the edge as you possibly can. If you are working with a 1/4 of an inch wide tape, then you should add 2 strips on each side, and if you're working with 1/2 an inch, then 1 is enough. And then you're gonna take your bone folder and burnish the tape. We don't want any air bubbles underneath. This helps to make sure that your tape stays where it's supposed to be, so the paper doesn't come loose. Then you're gonna take your scoreboard or anything else that has a straight edge like this. And then you're gonna take one of the full-sized sheets and put on top of the piece with the square tape. And then you're gonna peel off just a little bit of the anti-stick strips from the bottom of your paper. And I hope you don't have to struggle as much as I do. There we are. And then you're gonna place the edge on the full-sized sheet on top of the square tape. And you want it to cover the tape completely, but you shouldn't cover more than that, because we want the tape to be as close to the edge as possible on the big piece as well. And when you're sure that it's in the right place, you're gonna press it down at the bottom where we peel off the anti-stick, and then just peel off the rest, and your paper should stick together. And now you're gonna do the same thing with the other sheet. And peel off the anti-stick on the tape. This one was a little easier than the other side. And take your paper and place it on top of the tape, like so. And then press it down at the bottom. And remove the rest of your anti-stick strips. Now you're gonna go in with your bone folder again and burnish to make sure that there is no air in between the cardstock pieces. And now you have one big piece to cover your chipboard. So you're going to start with adding your square tape on the chipboard as well. Again, it has to be as close to the edge as possible. And I'm just using my stamp block to rip off the tape, so it's going to be straight. And as you can see, I am going all around the edges. And then I'm just going to place another strip in the middle of this piece. Do the same thing with the other 2 pieces, all around the edge. Of course, if you want to use some wider tape, you can do that. Or if you want to cover the chipboard completely in tape instead of using glue, then you do that. It's totally up to you. But I like to use glue because it's cheaper, it's easier, and it's much faster than adding your tape. But on big pieces like this, I always use both tape and glue. I add the tape to get as close to the edge as I can, and then I maybe add some more strips going over the piece, so I don't have two big areas to cover with glue, because the glue I'm using, bookbinding glue, it dries really quick. So now we are ready to glue the chipboard to the paper. And as you can see, I placed the smallest piece in the middle for the spine. And I just drew this line to guide me. I think it's about a little more than 1.5 inch from the edge, but it's not that important as long as your chipboards are gonna be in the middle of your paper. It doesn't have to be exact, but it is nice to have a guideline so you're sure that your cover is gonna be straight. And I am just gonna try to use this tool to peel off my anti-stick. I just cut my nails, so it's a little hard to get a grip. But I saw some other people using a tool like this to peel it off, so I thought I'd give it a try. So when you are ready, you are gonna add a nice layer of glue. And then place your spine piece right in the middle of your paper. And remember to follow your guideline. And when it's where you want it, then press it down and make sure you get all of the air bubbles out. I am just using my fist to kind of push all of the bubbles out. But now it's time for the next piece. And I am not very good friends with this pointy tweezer tool. As you can see, it's not really working for me. But it's fine, I'll get there. Like so. And now you can add your glue. And this is why I always have two glues in use. So when it clogs up, I could just grab the other one. As you can see, the first glue I added is almost already dry. So I just have to go over that part again. And then you're gonna take your leftover pieces and put them in between the chipboards and kind of push it together, and keep an eye on your guideline as well. And when it's there, you can press down your chipboard. Again, I am just using my fist to push all of the air out. That should do it. Now it's time for the last piece. Remember to close your glue. I'm just gonna skip the part where I take all of the anti-stick strips off again. You don't have to see me struggle with this one as well. So now it's time to add the glue on the last piece. So you're gonna take your leftover pieces again and place in between, like so, and kind of push in the chipboard. And press it down. The reason we have to have this space in between is so that we can fold the album without tearing the paper apart. And you always want to use 2 times the thickness of your chipboards in between your pieces. Now we're going to add some Tyvek or fabric so that the cover won't fall apart over time. And I'm not measuring anything here, I am just eyeballing it. You want it to be about as long as the chipboards, but you want them to be shorter rather than longer. You're just gonna cut 2 strips, about 1.5 2 inches. If you are working with Tyvek, you can use score tape to add these pieces, but if you, as me, are using fabric, then you have to use glue because the score tape won't stick to fabric, at least not as well. Someone asked me, won't this glue crack your spine over time? But this glue, it soaks into the fabric and it gets elastic when it dries. So it actually makes it stronger. And I'm putting the glue on the chipboard and then pressing down the fabric on top. And if I don't have enough glue, I'll just add some more. And remember to burnish with your bone folder. And I can see that I have to add a little more. Now we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. I'm just gonna wipe the glue off my bone folder before I continue. And now that is done. Remember to close your glue and wipe off your bone folder. And then you're gonna grab your scissors and cut off the corners. You don't wanna go too close to the chipboard. You wanna leave a little space. If you want, you can take the two leftover pieces again and hold up against the corner, then draw a line and cut after that. Then just go around and cut off all of the four corners. Then you're gonna massage your paper and slowly pull it over the chipboard. This allows the fibers in the paper to stretch and get a little softer, so your paper won't crack when you glue it down to the other side of the chipboard. So now you're gonna find your score tape again, and then you're gonna add a strip as close to the chipboard as you can. And then you're gonna add another strip on the edge of your paper. and burnish with your bone folder. And again, I'm just folding it over the chipboard before I glue it down. And then you can peel off your anti-stick. And add glue in the space between the strips of score tape. Like so. And if you pre-folded your paper like I just did before, then it should be much easier to get down in place. And I'm gonna start with pushing it down in the middle and then working my way out to each side. Then use your bone folder to burnish and get rid of all of those air bubbles. And close your glue. And then you're just gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. And then you're gonna do the same thing on the ends. But first you have to fold in your corners. And I am just pushing with my bone folder in towards the middle and then flattening at the same time. So it's kind of like when you are wrapping a gift. And then you're gonna add a little bit of glue in the corners. Like so. And then again, go in with your bone folder and flatten the paper in the corner. And then add your score tape. from one end to the other, as close to the chipboard as possible. And then add another strip on the edge of your paper. Like so. Remember to burnish. Then peel off your anti-stick and add your glue. And then fold the paper over the chipboard and push it down while you pull it. And go in with your bone folder again. And again, repeat on the other side. And remember to close your glue. And if you have any excess glue, just wipe it off with your towel. And I'm just gonna clean my desk a little so it doesn't pile up. And then you're gonna take your ivory cardstock. My cardstock is 8¼ of an inch wide. And if your cardstock is 8½, then you are gonna cut it down to 8¼ like so. Then you're gonna take your squirt tape and put it on the edge of your paper all around. And then you're also gonna add some strips across your paper, and remember to burnish with your bone folder. You're gonna peel off the anti-stick, but only on half of your paper. And then you're gonna add the glue in all of the spaces between the tape. And again, only on half of your paper. And then you're gonna turn your sheet around and place the part that doesn't have any glue on the naked chipboard. And you want an equal amount of space around your paper. And when you're sure that your paper is in the right place, then you can let go of the half with the glue and then press it down. And then go in with your bone folder and burnish and get rid of all the air bubbles. So now you've got one half down. And then you're gonna lift the cardstock and peel off all of the rest of the anti-stick strips. And when you're done struggling, you can add your glue in all of the spaces between the tape. And then you can just press down your paper and go over with your bone folder. And don't mind the beeping noise, that's just my baby monitor. Then we're going to take another sheet, and we want them to be overlapping each other. So you're just going to do the exact same thing with this sheet, and it should end up looking like this. Get rid of all of those air bubbles. And close your glue. And now we have the cover base. Now we just need to fold it and make the hinge system. But you don't want to just fold it. You're going to find the space between the chipboard, and you're going to take your bone folder. And you're going to softly make a score line in between. And be really careful and slow when you're doing this so you don't poke a hole through your paper. And then do the same thing on the other side. I don't remember what I was laughing about, but it was probably funny. Take your time and give the fibers in the paper a chance to stretch before you fold the cover. And do it slowly. You don't want to shock the paper and risk tearing it. Now the other side. And now your cover base should look like this. And let's move on to the magnetic hinge system. You're gonna need 2 sheets of ivory cardstock cut down to 8¼ by 11 inches. Like so. And then we're gonna score it, and I made a drawing of what it should look like when it's folded. You might want to take a screenshot of this. Then I hope it'll make more sense when you are pinching all of the little hinges together. But we're gonna take 1 sheet at a time, and I'm gonna put all of these numbers in the description below. But you are gonna score at 1, at 1 5/8, at 3 1/8, at 4 5/8, at 5 1/4, at 6 3/4, at 8 1/4, at 8 7/8, and at 10 3/8. Then you're gonna flip the paper and score at 2 3/8, at 3 7/8, at 6, at 7 1/2, and at 9 5/8. And you're gonna do the same thing with the other sheet. And remember, all of these numbers are gonna be in the description below, so you don't have to pause this part 100 times. Now I know that it's hard to see exactly what I'm doing, and it's hard to see the score lines of the paper, but I really hope that it helps to look at the drawing I made. The drawing is what it's supposed to look like when you have pieced them together. Right now they are 2 halves, but you're gonna pinch all of the V's together The first part of this before the first score line is going to be on the front cover, and then the next part is going to be the piece in between the cover and the first page, and then there is a hinge, and all of the hinges should be two V's right next to each other. So you're going to pinch, pinch, and skip, pinch, pinch, and skip. I really hope that makes sense to you. Right now I'm in the first V of the second hinge, and then the second V in the second hinge, and then skip, and then another V. And this part is where we are gonna put the two pieces together. So here is the first half of the hinge system. Let's do the same thing with the other one. And again, you are going to start in the end that has 1 inch to the first square line. So we're just going to fold the first part and then skip and pinch. And then pinch the next one. And skip. And pinch, and pinch again, and skip, and pinch again. And here's the other half. Now we're gonna put them together like this. So the seam is right in the middle of two V's. It is so hard to show you what I mean, but I really hope that you can see. We are gonna glue it together like this. So you see, they are gonna meet in one of the hinges. And now you are gonna put on your score tape. On the first piece, it should be on the back of the hinge system. And this is the back. And remember, as close to the edge as possible. And I'm just gonna add another one so it covers the whole part. So you see, on this one, the tape is on the back, and on this one, I am gonna put it on the front. Again, as close to the edge as possible. And I'm also gonna add 2 strips on this one. And don't forget to burnish. Okay, so let's try to put these together. Make sure that they are both facing the same way. and put them on top of each other. Now the overlap should be 1 inch wide with the score line in the middle. And you're gonna start by peeling off the anti-stick from one of the pieces. Make sure that it's straight before you peel off the whole thing. And that's one side. Now I'm gonna flip it around, and then I'm gonna peel the anti-stick off the other side. And your paper is stuck now. It's not gonna move, so you can just peel off the whole thing. And remember to burnish. So this is what you should have now. This is really hard, but I hope that you can see what I'm doing. You should have 5 hinges. And it should fit perfectly in your album cover. And it's really hard to hold this, but I am pretty sure that it fits. And now it's time to add all of the magnets. You're gonna add magnets to all of the parts in between the hinges. So you see, you have 4 places to add your magnets. And we are gonna add 4 magnets to each one of those pieces. So we're gonna need 16 magnets on the hinge and 16 magnets on the spine. I know it's a lot, and I know that this is complicated. So if you don't want to use this hinge system, as long as it has 5 hinges and is no more than 4 inches wide, you could use whatever system you prefer. But I really hope that you would like to give this a try. But you are gonna take your score tape and place a small piece on every mark you have made with your pencil. And when your tape is stuck, you can start to peel off all of the anti-stick bits. And this is how I add my magnets. Instead of separating them, I am just pushing down the whole stick and sliding, and then there's gonna be a magnet stack. And then for the next part, I'm gonna turn my magnet stick around so the magnets are facing the other way. And I'm just gonna fix this one real quick. The reason why they're not gonna be facing the same way is so that they don't get confused as to where they live in the album. If they were all facing the same way, then they would probably just switch places with each other. and we don't want that. And now you're going to take your paper bag, and we are going to cut some strips to place on top of the magnets. I'm going to start with cutting this off. And then I'm going to cut off 8 inches. It has to be long enough to cover the magnets, but also short enough to not be visible. And then you're going to cut 4 strips about 1/2 inch wide. And then you're going to glue down your strips on top of the magnets. And this does not have to be straight. It does not have to be pretty. The magnets doesn't even have to be completely covered. This is only so that the magnets are not going to fall off. And I'm just pushing down the paper bag on the magnets. And so we're going to do the same thing with the other 3. If you have any excess glue, just wipe it off. And close your glue. And now we're gonna go with another round of magnets. And then we are gonna add a little piece of square tape on every magnet. And make sure that they are all stuck. And then here comes the hard part. I'm just gonna make a mark in the middle of the spine, on the bottom and on the top. And then you're gonna find the middle of your hinge piece. And that is right where you glued your pieces together. And you are gonna put the middle right where you marked with your pencil. And when you find the right spot, you are gonna hold it and then use your other hand to peel off all of the anti-sticks, but only from one row at a time. And then you're gonna pinch your hinges together and press down on the magnets so that they will stick to the spine. And then you're gonna go with another row and peel off all of the anti-sticks. And again, pinch your hinges together and press down the magnets on the spine. And make sure that there is room for the cover to close. And if not, then you're just gonna have to adjust your score lines. But then you are gonna do the same thing on the other side and peel off all the anti-stick parts from one row and pinch together your hinges and press down the magnets. Like so. One row to go. Off with the anti-sticks. Pinch the hinges together. And press down your magnets. And again, you want to make sure that there is room for the cover to close. And if you have to adjust it, just use your bone folder and correct the score line. So now it should look like this. And we haven't glued anything down yet, so we can just take this off. And then we are going to cover up all of the magnets. So you are going to find your paper bag and cut a piece that fits just over the magnets. And I'm not measuring, I am just eyeballing this. And then you're gonna cover all of the magnets in glue and all the way around them. And then just place the paper bag on top. Again, it doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be straight. It just have to cover the magnets. And if you have to add a little more glue, then just do so. And now you are going to put square tape on the first inch on each side. And these are the parts that are going to be stuck to the front and the back. As always, you are going to go as close to the edge as possible. And then on the other side. And remember to burnish. And now you are going to put your hinge piece back in place. Like so. And you are going to go to one side and remove the anti-stick. And then you're going to add a little glue. And again, you are going to push the hinges together so it's back in place. And you are not going to press the paper down to the cover. You are going to lift the cover up against the paper. If you don't do it like this and press down the paper, then there will be way too much paper for the cover to close without pushing all of the magnets away. Same thing on the other side. And again, lift the cover up against the paper. And burnish. And now the hinge system is complete. Oh, just gonna fix that. Now we just need to add our pages. You are going to take your 5A pieces, and then you are going to take your square tape and put a strip of square tape as close to the edge as possible on one end, both sides. The tape has to cover 1/2 inch, so if you are working with 1/4 inch, then add 2 strips. And we are just going to do one page at a time, and I am removing the anti-stick in the bottom of the page on both sides. And then you are going to push your page down in one of the V's. And when you're sure that it's straight, then you can pinch the V together where you already removed the anti-stick, and then just peel off the rest. Go in with your bone folder and burnish down on both sides of the page. And that's one. Now let's do 4 more. that's it. It's done. And we are not going to be doing anything else right now. I don't know yet what I am going to have left from the Time to Flourish collection. So I am not sure how to decorate it right now. But I guess we will see. But first I just want to show you, if your album does this, where it pushes the magnets just a little, then you are going to go in with your bone folder and then press down the square line. And then you should be able to adjust it. See how I'm kind of just moving the square line just a tiny bit. And that's it. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to decorate the pages. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and click the bell if you want to get notified about my upcoming videos. Happy crafting and thank you for watching.